Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. We are finally back after having a very long and exhausting weekend. We're down in Manchester to see Testament and Exodus and Death Angel, which turned out to be possibly not the most exciting gig of my life since we got to the venue late. We missed Death Angel and we were right at the back. And really the sound quality, whoever was the sound tech for that specific concert that night was, well, he needs to be shot because the sound was terrible. But anyway, that's not here nor there. I would have been back on yesterday, but I was so exhausted from the weekend that I slept most of the day. So anyway, we're back today and we're going to be looking at an old favourite of mine, covered many times on this channel, Meadows End. Now, a few months ago, they released one of two bonus tracks that came on the vinyl edition of the Grand Antiquation. A track called Disruption, I believe it was. And that was, like I said, one of two bonus tracks. Now, on Sunday, it was 1 year since the Grand Antiquation was released, so they decided that they were going to release the second bonus track, Conflagration. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Now, since we've covered Meadows End quite extensively by now, I've, nothing really to say about the band. I've got the lyrics for the song here. They were generously supplied to me by the band, so yes, we shall have a look, see what this is. So let's jump straight to it. Conflagration by Meadows End. Let's have a look. And there we go. Conflagration by Meadows End. Now, it's very well known that I am a big fan of this band. You know, I've covered them, like I said, many, many times. But I have to say, that is not one of their strongest tracks. I mean, it's still not bad, you know, it's a good track, but it's not one of their strongest. Still enjoyed it, though. Now, the song itself, Conflagration itself, is an all-consuming, very highly destructive fire of sorts. So now, the actual track itself, it almost sounds like it's talking about Armageddon from a slightly different perspective. You know, most people talk about Armageddon and it's like the world coming to an end, you know, natural disasters all over the place and that sort of thing. This it seems to be... This seems to be talking about it from a different way. It's like the architects of the universe, you know, not necessarily God or whatever, you know, sort of almost like screwing it up in a ball and throwing it away to start again. And it goes, lyric-wise. Dark risen star conquers all, skies tremble, old world order changing form. So that's already like describing the start of this world or universe, as it were, coming to an end. The old world order changing form. And then it goes to the chorus. Hellfire, architects of time, they shall sunder all for a new foundation. The universe reforms, we shall stand in awe for the conflagration. So, you know, Hellfire, architects of time, so the creators of time, the universe, etc. You know, the consuming the earth. In Hellfire, it says they shall sunder all for a new foundation. So they're going to literally bulldoze the universe so that they can rebuild again. It says the universe reforms, we shall stand in awe for the conflagration, because, you know, that's all we can do is just stand and stare. There's nothing we'll be able to do to stop it, essentially. So, you know, it's basically talking about Armageddon. It carries on. The archangels of the apocalypse, reforging their empire, titans tremble. And then it goes back into that chorus. Hellfire, architects of time. They shall sunder all for a new foundation. The universe reforms. We shall stand in awe for the conflagration. And then it repeats that again just before the song ends. And like I said, I like the song, but it's definitely not one of their strongest. Not one of their strongest tracks. So, you know, maybe they thought this also, which is why it is designated down to a bonus track. I'm not sure, but, you know, still enjoyable, still very well performed, just not a very strong entry in their catalogue. But yeah, can't really think of much else to say on that, so I think we'll leave it as it is for the time being. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you could even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel and help me to create future content, maybe even help increase the quality of future content. There is also an option on Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue, should you choose to. There are a couple of limitations and provisos on that, to be fair to other people who might suggest tracks through regular means, such as through Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube comments. And if you do suggest tracks through any of those regular means, do know it might take me a while to get around to your suggestions, since I get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it will get done eventually. It's just going to take me a while to get around to it. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose main goal is to put an end to hate crimes, mainly those aimed towards people of the alternative culture. And it's something that I believe in very, very strongly, something that I feel really needs a lot more attention bringing to it, because, you know, every day all around the world, people are violently attacked, brutally beaten, just because of their taste in music. And it's never made sense to me why this happens, but it does happen all the damn time. You know, I've been dealing with it for nearly 30 years, and it still goes on. But it's never made sense to me attacking someone because of their taste in music, you know. But people are getting really violently, really viciously beaten, very severely hurt. You know, people are getting hospitalised, people are having bones broken, and sometimes even suffering even more invasive injuries, like being stabbed or something along those lines, just because of their taste in music. And it's absolutely mind-boggling that this happens in the first place. And it's complete insanity, the fact that nothing is getting said or done about it, and that really needs to change. Because, you know, every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, like religious hatred, you know, ableism, etc. We hear about these every single day in the media, from the most heinous and violent of crimes where someone was brutally murdered because of their sexual preference, or because of the colour of their skin, or because of their religion, down to the most petty and pathetic of these crimes, where entitled Karen is phoning the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public park. You know, we hear every facet of these crimes every single day in the news. You know, all across the media, we hear about these all the time. But we're never hearing anything about these people that are getting brutally, brutally attacked because of their taste in music. You know, and it is a real problem. Because the last time this was spoken about widely in the media was 12 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently attacked and brutally beaten by a group of 5 or 6 people. You know, they were kicked, they were punched, they had their heads stamped on by this group of people, just purely because they listened to alternative music, because they were wearing alternative fashion. Now, they were beaten so severely that they both ended up in a coma. Now, thankfully, Rob Maltby, he survived. He came out of a coma after about a week or two, can't remember exactly how long. But Sophie Lancaster was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries. This young girl, 20 years old, was brutally murdered because of her taste in music. And that was the last time anybody really heard any widespread reports on this thing happening. But in the 12 years since that happened, I can guarantee you hundreds, if not thousands, of people from the alternative community have been attacked in similar ways, but we've never heard anything of it because no one died. And that's just disgusting at the core of it. You know, we shouldn't have to wait for someone to die before something like this gets spoken about. We shouldn't have to, like, just shove it to the back of our minds and not think about it just because it's, you know, it might not directly relate to you, but that's not the point. You know, all hell breaks loose if someone gets attacked because of the colour of their skin. All hell breaks loose if someone gets attacked because of their sexual preference or their sexual identity. You know, all hell breaks loose if this sort of thing happens. But the person who listens to heavy metal gets attacked. No one cares, and that is it needs to change. Something needs to be done, because the people who are perpetrating these crimes are essentially just getting away with it, and we can't allow that to go on. I mean, as it is, when people do receive a punishment of some sort for doing this sort of thing, it's laughably bad. You know, one of the guys who took part in Sophie Lancaster's murder was sentenced to life. He then had his sentence reduced to, I think it was 15.5 years, then to 14.5 years. And then he's eligible for parole just 12 years after her death. This guy has had his sentence, reduced 3 times from life. And, he murdered someone in cold blood for no good reason other than the fact that he didn't like the music that she listened to. I mean, what she listened to didn't affect his life in any way. But he brutally murdered her. He took part in her brutal murder. And people care so little about the fact that he killed a goth, a metaler, a mosher, whatever you want to call him. That, they're like, oh, will reduce his sentence because of good behaviour. I don't give a shit how good his behaviour was. He murdered someone. He was sentenced to life. Life should mean life. But, you know, they don't care. They're just like, oh, it was only a goth. We'll let him go. You know, it's not good enough. You know, this needs to change. This needs to be fixed. Something needs to be done. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. You know, they want more people to talk about this. They want the people committing these crimes to face the consequences and know that they will face the consequences. You know, that we need to let them know that this will not be allowed to happen again. What happened to Sophie Lancaster can never happen again. It should never have happened in the first place, but we most certainly cannot allow it to happen again. And it's very important that we start talking about this so we can stop something like that from ever happening again. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there is a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, like a small donation through their website or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands from their web store, you know, the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we get more people talking about this, the sooner we bring more attention to the fact that this is happening, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But we'll leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.